Hello friends! There is a document available right now at ssa.gov that is completely free, takes about 10 minutes to pull up, and contains information that could mean hundreds of dollars more in your monthly Social Security check starting as soon as next month. Most people who are already receiving Social Security have never looked at it. Not because they don't care about their money, but because nobody told them it existed. Nobody explained what to look for, and nobody mentioned that errors in this document are common, consequential, and correctable, even after you've already claimed. Today, I'm going through exactly what this document is, what to look for, and what to do if you find something wrong. The document is called your Social Security Earnings Statement. It lives inside your My Social Security account at ssa.gov. Every year you worked in America, your employer was required to report your earnings to the Social Security Administration. Those reports were recorded in a file attached to your Social Security number, and that file, year by year, is what the SSA used to calculate the monthly benefit you receive right now. Here is the problem that most people receiving Social Security have no idea about. That file is not perfect. Employers make mistakes. Payroll systems make mistakes. Data entry errors happen. Names get misspelled. Social Security numbers get transposed. And sometimes an entire year of earnings simply doesn't get recorded. When those errors exist in your file and you never catch them, your benefit gets calculated on a lower number than what you actually earned, and the resulting reduction follows you for the rest of your life. How much does one missing or incorrect year cost? According to the Social Security Administration, if an employer fails to correctly report 1 year of earnings, your monthly benefit could be approximately $100 less than you are entitled to. That is $1,200 per year. Over 20 years of retirement, that is $24,000 from a single error that might have taken 15 minutes to find and fix. If your record has 2 or 3 problem years, which is not unusual for people who worked through the 1,980 seconds and 1,990 seconds when payroll reporting was largely manual, the cumulative impact multiplies accordingly. Now, here is the critical piece that most people don't realize. Although your benefit is calculated when you turn 62, there are situations where your benefit can change after the initial calculation due to additional earnings, corrections to your earnings record, or the discovery of a clerical error. This applies even if you have been receiving Social Security for years. If you find an error in your earnings record today and submit the correction with documentation, SSA will recalculate your benefit. Your monthly check goes up, not retroactively for all the months you've been underpaid. That part is unfortunately not recoverable, but going forward, permanently. So let's walk through exactly how to do this. Step 1. Go to ssa.gov and sign into your My Social Security account. If you don't have one yet, you can create it for free. You'll need a valid email address and the ability to verify your identity, which the site walks you through. The whole setup takes about 15 minutes. Step 2. Once you're logged in, look for your Social Security statement. Open the section that shows your earnings history, a year-by-year list of every amount of income the SSA has on record for you going back to your very first job. Step 3. Review that list carefully. You are looking for 2 specific things. First, missing years. A year where you know you worked, but the record shows 0 or nothing at all. Second, years where the amount listed is significantly lower than what you remember earning. A year that shows 0 or is simply blank, even though you know you worked that year, is the most common error worth pursuing. One thing to be aware of so you don't chase a correction that isn't actually an error: the SSA only records earnings up to the taxable maximum for that year. If you were a high earner in any given year, your record will only show the cap for that year, not your full income. That is not a mistake. It is simply how the system works. What you are looking for is years where the number is dramatically lower than what you remember, or years that are completely blank despite you having worked. Step 4. Compare what you see against whatever records you have. W-2 forms are the most useful. They show exactly what your employer reported to the government for that year. Old tax returns work too. pay stubs if you kept them. If you find a year where your W-2 says one thing and your SSA record says something different or nothing at all, that is an error worth correcting. Step 5. File a correction. To request a correction, you fill out Form SSA 7008, the Request for Correction of Earnings Record. This form is available for download from the SSA's website. You attach copies of your documentation, the W-2 or tax return showing the correct amount, and submit it to your local SSA office or mail it in. Errors may take 10 to 90 days to correct, although incorrect earnings for the current or previous year may still be in the process of updating. Once the correction is processed and your record is updated, SSA recalculates your benefit based on the corrected earnings. Your monthly check increases permanently. Now, let me address something that a lot of people wonder about. If you worked for 30 years and only had, say, 28 strong earning years, does having a couple of lower income years really matter? Here's how SSA calculates your benefit so you understand what you're actually looking for. Your monthly benefit is based on your 35 highest earning years adjusted for inflation. If you worked for exactly 35 years, every year counts. If you worked for fewer than 35 years, the missing years are filled in with zeros, and those zeros pull the average down. If you worked for more than 35 years, the lowest years drop off and your benefit is based on the best 35. What this means practically, if you have any year in your record where a low number is recorded, but you actually earned more, a year where your employer underreported your wages, a year of self-employment income that got missed, a year early in your career where a small clerical error reduced your recorded earnings. That year may be one of your 35 counted years, and fixing the error replaces the low number with the correct one, improving your average and increasing your monthly check. There is one more situation worth mentioning that catches people off guard. If you file for benefits and then either keep working or return to work, those earnings will result in a recomputation as long as they replace one of the earnings years in the high 35 calculation. So if you retired and then went back to work part-time, even at a relatively modest income, that new year of earnings might be higher than one of your older, lower earning years from early in your career. SSA reviews this automatically each year and is supposed to recalculate your benefit if the new earnings would improve it. But not everyone sees that adjustment reflected correctly. If you have worked even part-time since you started receiving Social Security, log into your statement and verify that those recent years are showing up in your record. The bottom line is straightforward. Your Social Security statement is a document that tells you exactly what the SSA believes you earned over your entire working life and what monthly benefit it calculated from that. Errors in that document are common, particularly for people who worked during the era of manual payroll processing. Each error that goes uncorrected costs approximately $100 per month in perpetuity. The correction process is free, uses a one-page form, and when successful, results in a permanent increase to your monthly check. 10 minutes on ssa.gov tonight. Open the statement, look at the earnings history year by year. If something doesn't look right, a missing year, a number that seems too low, pull out a W-2 or old tax return and compare. If you find a discrepancy, file Form SSA 7008 with your documentation. That is the entire process.